States. Not many people dominate their sport like William Trubridge. He's a 15-time world record holder, current world champion. He holds his breath for an amazing amount of time and he freedives. He's the first person to ever descend more than 90 metres and he holds the current record of 101 metres. And William Trubridge is with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, mate.
And you and I have chatted a number of years ago when you were doing it. So this is obviously, you're a serious player. You've been in the game for a very long period of time and you're at the, you're as good as it gets. And last time I talked to you, you held your breath, I think it was, for 7.5 minutes.
Yes, that's my static breath hold.
What's that mean?
It means you're not doing anything. You're not swimming down or across.
So you're just sitting around, just sucking your breath in,
yeah.
and holding it. And do you ever? Is that part of what you do in the sense that you think I'd love to make it 8 or 8.5?
Well, I have held my breath for 8 minutes in training, but it's not really a goal of mine. My goal is more associated with depth and seeing how far we can kind of penetrate under the water.
Okay, so 101 lessons here. So we've got, 3 different sorts of free diving? Mm-hmm. So what are they?
The purest form is unassisted free diving, which is where you're just swimming down hands and feet, no propulsive assistance of any kind. Okay. And then you have monofin free diving, constant weight they call it, where you wear you can wear 2 fins, but they prefer to wear a monofin, which is like a whale's tail that straps to your feet. Yeah. And free immersion, where you can pull yourself down on the line. So
there's a big rope and you're just pulling down. So do the records make any difference in terms of depth? At 101, you did that, by yourself?
Yes.
And that's a vastly better record than dragging yourself down on a rope, surely, and going 101.
I see it as more pure, because you're actually swimming under the water rather than pulling on a rope.
Okay, and you've been doing this most of your life, haven't you?
Since a kid, yeah. I lived on a boat when I was very young, and we were always snorkeling and playing in the water.
And at what point did you go from playing in the water and being able to hold your breath into going, right, I'm going to spend the rest of my life free diving in the Bahamas?
Actually, not until later. I was 22 when I found out that it was a sport you could compete in and train in. Was it, when we talked last time, I think you explained that anyone can do it, not the diving, but the holding of the breath, expanding. I mean, I reckon I can hold my breath for about 210, 215. Mm-hmm. And I could expand that out, you reckon, with training? For sure, yeah.
To what? Without killing myself?
With training, you might be able to get to 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes.
Okay, and that's just a physical thing. It's just like getting fitter, running faster, trying harder.
You're developing tolerance to high CO2 and low oxygen.
Okay, so what's the trick to the sport itself? Being able to, one, hold your breath for the length of time, but presumably there's a tremendous amount going on with you once you're underwater.
Yeah, there you're trying to get the most kind of bang for your buck from what the oxygen you do have. So swimming as economically as possible, and also shutting down anything that's superfluous. Even the brain consumes a huge amount of oxygen just with rational, conscious thought. So if you can slow your thoughts down, you can slow down your consumption of oxygen.
How did you learn to do that?
It comes with time, but also through studying meditation and yogic practices, and just concentrating on trying to extend those spaces between the thoughts, and not so much to kind of shunt the thoughts out of the way as just occupy the empty spaces.
Wow. Do you, if you were at peace with yourself underwater, that would help, wouldn't it? If you were enjoying it, going, this is cool.
Exactly, yeah.
That slows you right down, as opposed to being, hyped.
Yeah.
Exactly worried. Is there a chance of panic?
There always is. If something should go wrong, then and you start panicking, you consume your oxygen so much quicker, and that's always a danger in freediving. So you've got to kind of try and look out for any contingencies or anything that could go wrong, and plan for it, visualize or kind of program your subconscious mind in order to deal with any eventualities.
Well, because your heart slows down to what? What's your heart slow down to once you...
During a deep dive, we've never actually, we don't have the equipment to measure it at that depth, but I know that it slows down into the low 20s.
Wow. And can you feel all of that happening to yourself?
Yeah, you can. It's kind of bizarre. If I stop at a depth and just wait there, I can hear my heartbeat in my ears really loud. And it actually separates into the 2 contractions. So you hear kind of like a glung, glung, and then there's a gap, and then glung, glung.
How is it, but see, doesn't that counterbalance what you're doing, which is swimming, and swimming increases your heart rate, doesn't it, because it's physical activity?
Yeah, it's unlike any other sport, because what actually happens is you shunt your blood is shunted from your muscles in the periphery into the core, so your muscles are working anaerobically without any blood flow, and they can do that for several minutes, but your brain can't operate without oxygen or blood flow for more than a few seconds.
But your brain is affected by doing all of this, isn't it?
You mean in the long run, or?
Well, yeah. Actually, I'll ask you that in a minute, because that's another area of fascination. But you can become disoriented.
Yes, if the oxygen level gets too low, then your brain effectively shuts itself down in order to conserve that last piece of oxygen.
Do you know you're becoming disoriented?
You get signals just before a blackout happens. Yes, you become less lucid. Your vision starts to crowd in.
Jeez. And if you're 100 feet below, what are you doing at that point?
You can only do one thing, which is try and swim back to the surface.
And do you swim fast? Because what happened, isn't that whole thing, you come back up nice and slowly?
It's there's no reason to come up slower other than that you should be conserving oxygen. So there is a oxygen efficient speed, and if you panic and swim faster than that, then you're going to black out.
So how much of this, having explained all of that, how much of what you do and being good at it is in your head versus your physical attributes?
It's both. It's a mental and a physical sport. So you need to obviously train your body to be efficient and to be fit, and to resist low oxygen. But you also need to train the mind to slow itself down, to be okay with the idea that you're 100 meters away from your life support system.
Does that become easier the better you get and the longer you do it? You know, there's just another day at the office.
Yeah, you build up confidence with time. So like anything, if you're doing it regularly, then it becomes more of a natural thing for you to do.
So the long-term medical, and that does fascinate me, does anybody know what you've done to your body over a sustained number of years that might come back to bite you in the bum when you're 60?
No, but I look at the guys who are older than me, who've been doing it for a lot longer, like my coaches, and they're all in good shape and seem to have their wits about them. So
so there's no physical, there's no mental, there's nothing going on there that you'd be thinking, geez, because it puts tremendous pressure on you. I mean, it can't not, can it? I mean, 100 feet under the water. I mean, I can't go 10 feet under the water without my ears popping and things, you know.
Yeah, if you want to talk pressure, it's 160 psi at 100 meters, which is like 3 times the pressure in a car tire.
Jeez. What's the age limit on this sport, or is it one of those things you can do forever?
Maybe not forever, but you peak a lot later than in other sports. Maybe mid to late 30s or even 40s. My competitor, his mother is the world champion for females, and she's 53. So
you got years to go yet.
I've got a good 5-10 maybe.
How big's the sport?
It's growing a lot. It's still an extreme sport and a fringe sport, but there are now hundreds, maybe thousands of competitors.
And it's all done in this remote part of the Bahamas in a hole. And what's the hole called?
Dean's Blue Hole.
Dean's Blue Hole. And it's the spot on Earth.
It's the Mecca, yeah. There's other places like the Red Sea in Egypt and Japan and Hawaii, but Dean's Blue Hole is the best. Has the best.
So this next record, where are you at currently? 101?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you aiming for?
At least 102. So you have to
and then you can aim at 103, and so it goes. So where's the end?
I'm not setting myself any kind of ceiling to it, more just focusing on the process of extending my limits and the human limits and seeing where I end up.
And who's close to you? Who's on your tail?
There's a Russian guy, Alexei Molchanov, who has done 96.
Oh, he's miles behind.
5 meters.
Oh, for goodness sake. He's not even in the competition.
He's training hard though, and he has the record. I have 2 of the world records. He has the 3rd one with the monofin.
Okay, are you all like tight knit? Given it's one of those sort of sports, or are we full of camaraderie, or is it full of?
There's camaraderie because you often end up safety diving for one of your rivals sometimes if you're training together. But there's also quite a fierce competition kind of brewing between myself and this guy.
Good. So that keeps you going then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's motivation.
How do you monetize it? How do you make a living out of it?
Through sponsorship. So I'm really proud to be sponsored by New Zealand brands like Steinlager and Orca, and through teaching a little. Good.
Well, lovely to catch up with you. Lovely to meet you in person. And good. When's the next challenge? When's the next attempt?
So with Steinlager, I'm doing an attempt at this world record of 101 meters in December. We're going to broadcast it live on Breakfast on TVNZ.
Good.
and it's going to be on the 3rd of December.
Fantastic.
Morning.
Well, I wish you all the very best with it. Hope it goes well. Nice to see you again. William Trubridge, it is 8:23.